who are joining us.
Great, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Should we start? Yeah.
Good morning, all. We are extremely honored, happy to have Excellency, Ambassador of Switzerland with us. We are truly honored to have you with us. And without taking any time, I also see on a screen our friend Ameya Prabhu. He is joining from Bombay.
Yeah.
He's there, right on the screen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our ICC Towers ambassador.
Yeah, so we would like to start now. May I request President to kindly start the session with his welcome address.
Thank you, Rajiv. Good morning, friends. On behalf of the Indian Chamber of Commerce, I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone present here with us physically and virtually. It gives me great pleasure to welcome His Excellency, Dr. Ralf Heckner, Ambassador of Switzerland to India. I also extend my warm welcome to Mr. Umesh Chaudhary, Honorary Consul of Switzerland, Kolkata, and my Vice President, Ameya Prabhu, who is joining us from Mumbai. When we talk about Switzerland, the first image which conjures up is the Swiss Alps, the Swiss chocolates, Swiss watches, and the lovely holidays and your honeymoons, which you've probably had there. But Switzerland is a formidable industrial and banking force, with much to offer to emerging economic powerhouses like India. India has a close and dynamic relationship with Switzerland that is reflected in numerous treaties and agreements and in frequent high-level diplomatic visits. The broad-based cooperation between the two countries covers areas which includes trade, science, education, and culture. Switzerland was the 11th largest trading partner for India, with the total bilateral trade, including bullion, amounting to USD 18 billion in 1920. And India was Switzerland's 8th largest trading partner. Switzerland has emerged as a major source of FDI for India. It is the 12th largest foreign investor in India, with a cumulative investment of USD 9.3 billion from April 2000 to September 2021. In terms of industry-wise distribution of Swiss investments in India, traditional sectors of Swiss excellence, such as engineering and industrial equipment, services, precision instruments, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, continue to maintain top positions. Recent reform initiatives fueled by the Atmanirbhar Bharat program and the drive to a $5 trillion economy have enhanced the potential for Swiss businesses in sectors such as clean technology, life sciences, precision engineering, medtech, financial services, and fintech, construction materials and equipment, consumer goods, railways, and also defense. The Indian service sector too is growing in importance for the Swiss economy, particularly in the areas of life sciences, as well as new age technologies, such as AI, artificial intelligence, robotics, blockchains, and space tech. While the Indian economy has always had a very large informal component, government initiatives over the last few years have resulted in a robust shift from an informal to a formal economy. The long-term impact of such a shift is that it induces a cultural change and makes sound governance practices a part of the economic DNA, thereby enabling India to create business models that can be scaled up, for inclusive growth. As an advanced country and an established partner, Switzerland has considerable knowledge and experience in establishing and nurturing sound governance practices and play a catalytic role in the process of the shift. The COVID pandemic and its aftermath have seen a dramatic shift in the manner in which countries are engaging with one another. I am sure today's session will see a vibrant exchange of ideas to further deepen the economic partnership between the two countries. in these challenging times. With these words, I once again welcome our eminent speakers, guests, and look forward to a few fruitful deliberation and interactions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, President. May I now request Mr. Umesh Chaudhary to kindly share his thoughts.
Very good morning. Thank you, Mr. Sureka and Mr. Singh, Dr. Singh, to invite us over to be here with your members. It's really a happy moment for me to be able to have His Excellency Dr. Heckner amidst us, all of us. It's his first visit to Calcutta. He's been in India for about a year, and courtesy the COVID, this visit, which was long overdue, has finally materialized. It's very nice that he's been able to come here during this festive season, and in spite of this being a holiday season, you've been able to get both the virtual and the physical platform organized for us. So thank you very much to the chamber, to Dr. Singh personally, and Mr. Sureka, and of course my friend Amir Prabhu. So maybe I'll just take a moment off to congratulate Amir for becoming the Vice President of Indian Chamber. Dr. Heckner came into Calcutta a couple of days ago. He's had a very fruitful visit so far. He's been able to see different and meet different parts of the society. We called on the Honorable Governor yesterday. We'll be meeting the Chief Secretary. And I thought that his visit would be incomplete unless he was able to interact with the business community. And when we wanted to do that, what could be better than to interact with the members of Indian Chamber? Excellency, as I was mentioning to you, the Indian Chamber of Commerce represents the entrepreneurial spirit, not only of India, but particularly of eastern part of India, West Bengal. And you would find amongst the members and the interaction, a lot of entrepreneurs. And you would be able to witness the entrepreneurial zeal that West Bengal has to offer. And definitely, I'm sure that while West Bengal has not been in the statistics that Mr. Sureka mentioned, West Bengal has not been in the topmost bracket in terms of partnership with Switzerland on the economic relationships. I would say more than relationship, investments, both inward and outward, but there is a lot of potential. And your visit, Excellency, would really help to unleash that potential. So with these words, I thank the chamber and I thank the Excellency to be here and to invite us to Indian Chamber. So over to you back. Thank you.
Thank you. It's time now to request our chief guest. Excellency, may I request you to kindly address us?
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh. President Sureka, thank you very much that you made today's interactions possible. Also, my warm greetings to Amir Prabhu. By the way, I recommend the reading of his new book. There are some short stories that Amir wrote during the COVID crisis, and it was a great pleasure to read some of them. So we met at the residence in New Delhi. Now I'm here in Kolkata. Thank you for dialing in. I'm here for a couple of reasons, and I will come to my 2 or 3 priorities as an ambassador. But one is very clear, that was already very clearly said by you, Mr. President, that Switzerland is a country that is looking for investment opportunities. And I had a look at our presence in India, and I found that there were only a couple of Swiss embassies, Swiss companies in West Bengal. So I would like to explore with you opportunities for Swiss businesses, but opportunities also of cooperation and investments. And the second point would also be, I would like to learn more about your views on opportunities here and the investment climate. This is the first time that I'm in West Bengal after more than a year in Delhi. This is proof that the Swiss are a little bit slow, but we are incredibly well represented here as a country by Umesh Chowdhury, our honorary consul. So Switzerland was always very close to you, though it took me more than a year to be with you. But let me have a look back on my first year and what I learned being in India. Before taking up my position in Delhi, I heard a lot of things about the Indian administration. And I have to say that what I have met and seen over the last year and a third is exactly the contrary. I have met a very professional administration, not only in New Delhi, but also in the States. And then I have met a lot of politicians and administrators with a getting things done mentality. And I found open doors. You were referring to the many Indian citizens that have been visiting and keep visiting Switzerland. I'm sure the goodwill when it comes to Switzerland is there, but we are also very well represented in Switzerland, not only with Honorary Consul Umesh Chowdhury here in Kolkata. We have one also in Chennai. We have one of the biggest embassies in New Delhi. Since 1915, there is a consulate in Mumbai. Since 1940, there is a Swiss business hub in Mumbai. And since 2010, there's a science consulate, a consulate that is fully dedicated to the collaboration and interactions between the scientific and communities between Switzerland and India in Bangalore. So having a look at and there's Switzerland tourism in Mumbai, and there's the Swiss science, the Swiss cultural promotion entity for Helvetia in Delhi. So we find open doors in India also because we are very well represented in India as a network. And I served in the United States. It can be absolutely compared to what we have in the United States. When I said that I found a professional administration, I give you one example between April and June. So during the second wave, which hit us all very hard, all the planned interactions with the Indian administration went on. So there was a health dialogue, there was a financial dialogue, there was a stock taking on our investment relationship, investment protection relationship. We had the last round of our free trade agreement, free trade negotiations in May. We had also two subgroups on goods and another one on services that met virtually in May. We had a phone call of the two foreign ministers, and on top of this, we were cooperating on bringing some relief items from Switzerland and also from 40 Swiss businesses to the Indian people in need. And also that was incredibly professionally done. I was in contact with the additional secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, with the Deputy Secretary General of the India Red Cross Society. Very late in the evening, very late in the night, I received answers within minutes, and also the distribution of the items was done in an incredibly professional way, digitalized platforms where we could see where items went. So I think this is important also for you, because it is one of the takeaways of my first year here, that I have met a professional administration and I have had open doors when it comes to our relations here in India. Now, when it comes to our relations, I think there are 2 or 3 things that I would like to share with you. First and foremost, as an ambassador and even as a network, we can do a lot, but this is never sufficient. What is much more important are the people-to-people relations. And I'm here ambassador in a country with which we have incredible people-to-people relations. You were referring to it. We have the biggest visa center in New Delhi, issuing 180,000 visas per year before COVID. The objective is that this will happen again, that we will reach those levels quickly again. But also the Indian embassy in Bern is issuing 50,000 visas. And these are just the visas that are issued on a yearly basis. On top of it, we have quite a number of Indian and Swiss citizens that have multiple entry, 3, 4, 5-year visas. So we are talking about maybe 300,000 people that visit India and Switzerland on a yearly basis. This is absolutely unique and huge. So that is the foundation that we have when it comes to people-to-people relations. And on top of it, both of our countries are democracies, very different ones. You cannot compare a democracy of 1.3 billion people with a democracy of 8.5 million people. And we have the luxury and the tradition of direct popular votes. You are organizing the biggest elections of this planet every 4 years. But you can feel that there are some values that we do share. And another thing that we share is the federal system. And that is also the reason why I'm here and why I visit the federal states here in India, because I'm very mindful of the fact that a lot is happening in the federal states. And I also see that there is competition among the federal states. And we have the same competition in Switzerland. And this is a good thing. And each state or each canton is focusing on different things. And I would like to learn which are the strengths that are attractive, are making West Bengal attractive. So this is the one thing. If you have a look at international relations, it is like shifting sands. Everything is moving, is changing, but our relations are incredibly steady and always have been, and they're steady because of the values that we share and because of the people that go both ways. But then there's one thing why I'm convinced that our relations will only grow in importance. If you have a look at what is important today, that is innovation. So innovation is important for a business. If you want to be a competitive business, then you need to be an innovative one, and you are looking for innovation. If you want to be a successful country, you have to be an innovative country. And innovation is also at the center of geopolitical interactions. What you see between US and China, for example, is a competition about innovation. And India is part and parcel of that geopolitical power equation. And if India wants to have innovation, all India has to do is to pay attention to the relations that India has with Switzerland. Switzerland has been ranked and is ranked as one of the most innovative countries of the world. But me being the ambassador of Switzerland to India, what I have seen is that there are huge pockets of innovation in India. And those pockets, by the way, are much bigger than Switzerland. So 75 years back, Switzerland had innovation, India had little innovation. Today we are in a position where Switzerland is looking to India as an inspiration for innovation. And because of the fact that innovation will only grow in importance, I'm also convinced that our bilateral relations will grow in importance with a cooperation in innovation. So innovation is something that I'm looking forward to. And that is something that I would like to also learn from you, where you see innovation when it comes to West Bengal. Now, you being businessmen and women, we have a very big business community from Switzerland in India. And I will come to the Indian business community in Switzerland after that. My network went through an exercise of mapping the Swiss companies, and there are more than 300 companies in India, and they are located in 5 to 6 states. So there's Maharashtra. I was talking about our presence in Maharashtra for quite some time. The first business they opened in 1851 from Switzerland, and then with a consulate, with a business hub, it is clear that Maharashtra up to today is the state where we have most of our businesses in. So half of those 300 businesses are located in Maharashtra. We have an important presence in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka. So this is this belt in southern India. And then we have quite a strong presence in New Delhi, Haryana, and also in Gujarat. So these states might have also a good investment climate, or they have assets like airports or ports that are important for Swiss businesses. So this is the presence when it comes to the physical presence. And then we also had a look at when they came into India. And they came into India, 90% of all the Swiss businesses after 1991. And we had now more than 35 businesses that came in after 2014. So the takeaway that I have there is the Swiss companies are very much receptive to what they see as an improved investment climate. So liberalization at the beginning of the 1990s was a clear signal to Switzerland. India is open for more business. Our prime minister, who was at the beginning of already at the beginning of his tenure, making clear that he wanted to attract foreign investments, was also a signal to the Swiss companies. So we had in the last years quite a number of businesses coming into India, about 10% of the presence that we have here today. One last point, where are the Swiss businesses present? Presently, you were coming up with a whole list where Swiss businesses are present. So the message there is, when it comes to Swiss businesses, you can run, but you cannot hide. They're all over the place. But I would like to highlight maybe 2 or 3 things that I think are of interest to India at this point. One is 29 out of the more than 300 Swiss businesses have an R&D center in India. So innovation is being done on Indian soil for and by Swiss companies. I think this is something that is this is much more than just investing in a company that is producing things. This is I think the highest grade of investment that you can have. So in Switzerland, we pride ourselves that we have a lot of research and development jobs available. Swiss companies are creating them here in India. Then Make in India. or self-reliant India. These are two policies that the center is pushing. 100 out of the 300 businesses from Switzerland are manufacturing in India, and 70 out of those 100 are exporting their manufactured goods from India to the four corners of the world. So the Swiss businesses are contributing to an export-oriented, a more export-oriented Indian economy as well. And last but not least, at the end of the day, it is all about jobs, and jobs at several levels. I was talking about R&D centers, I was talking about manufacturing jobs, but I'm also talking about jobs, for example, for farmers. Agriculture is a big thing in India. And Nestle, for example, that I think is seen more as an Indian company than a Swiss company in India. So this is the best that can happen to a foreign company, being seen as an Indian business. Especially, I think Maggi soups are considered an Indian dish at this point. Nestle is investing between 250 and 300 million US dollars and is providing additional 100,000 jobs for farmers in Punjab, Haryana, and in Rajasthan. So this is to give you a little bit a flavor of the investments from Switzerland, where they are present geographically, the lessons learned when it comes to investment climate, and also the sectors where I see that the Swiss businesses are very prominent at this point. And also infrastructure, I forgot, the new Noida airport will be built by Zurich Airport, and that will be the second airport built by Zurich Airport after Bangalore. There's a huge investment opportunity that I perceive, me not being a businessman as you are, when it comes to infrastructure. So to wrap up, I see an incredible potential for even more growth for our two countries when it comes to innovation. And when it comes to innovation, especially also IT and digitalization, I see India as a strategic partner for Switzerland in the digital era. Switzerland was one of the first countries when it comes to the industrial wave. We were surfing on top of the industrial wave. We also were able to catch the second industrial wave, that was pharma and chemistry, international financial services as well. But now we are in the digital wave, and our ambition is to be again on top of that digital wave. And if Switzerland wants to be on top of this digital wave, we need India. We need India as a strategic partner in this digital era. And there are quite a number of Indian IT and consultancies businesses physically present in Switzerland. And I talked to them, and I'd also talked to the Swiss multinational businesses. And the Indian IT and consultancy businesses are very happy in Switzerland because they have major international companies to work with. And the Swiss multinationals are very happy to have Indian IT companies in order to be able to digitalize their businesses now, not in 5 or 10 years, now, thanks to the support and the know-how that Indian businesses are providing. And with that, I would like to close. These are some of my findings after 1 year and 3 months in India. I'm sure I will add some more findings and takeaways after meeting you. I'm very happy to take questions, but I'm especially also here in a listening mode from now on, I would say, because as I said, I would like to learn from you what you see as investment opportunities in West Bengal, in which direction the economy might go, and also when it comes to innovation, where you see potential to work with innovation hubs in West Bengal. And again, thank you that you made time on Christmas, that you made time to join from Mumbai and other far-reaching parts of the great state of West Bengal, which has 90 million people and has 10 times more people than the state that I'm trying to represent here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think we can open the floor now. Mr. Jalan, would you?
Good afternoon. We were talking about Nestle. So we've been in the past we've been partners with. Yeah, we've been partners with Nestle for over a decade, and I've been a part of the R&D center which they have in Veve and all their facilities in Moga and in Haryana, Samalka. So a question which comes to my mind is that, after this, there's been a lot of research and development by the Indian dairy companies, which have happened over the last few years. And especially so for the Indian dairy products and, packaged food products. Would you see any potential for Indian dairy companies to look at investments into Switzerland for this purpose and use this as a base to export into the EU and the rest of that region? Thank you.
Thank you. I cannot speak for Nestle, but the fact that my network is working on a food delegation from Switzerland is maybe an indication what we see as a network and where we see opportunities. And now, living in India, I also see how important food is. And there is an incredible food culture in India. And when it comes to food in Switzerland, because of the fact that so many Indian citizens are traveling and visiting and also working in Switzerland, there is Indian food is very present in Switzerland already. But I'm very happy to follow up with you and include you and your business in our food delegation from Switzerland, and then work on a food delegation to Switzerland. Thank you very much, Mr. Yanes.
Mr. Kapoor?
Yeah, I would like to. Thank you. Thank you, Excellency. It was great listening to you. As part of the tourism committee of the chamber, one specific area I thought we could work together with Switzerland as a knowledge partner for responsible tourism. Switzerland has perfected, I would say, the art of responsible tourism in a very planned manner. And if we could share your experience through the chamber for responsible tourism in West Bengal, because West Bengal has enormous potential for tourism. It's got probably the best, right from the mountains to the sea. No other state in the country has that. So we could use your expertise. Maybe we could have some workshops with your, experts. That is something we could work with the chamber to do. The second thing which I wanted to also mention is, again, knowledge, since you talked about innovation. See, I'm associated with the Indian Institute of Management in Calcutta, and they have a very active center for entrepreneurship and innovation. Again, through the good offices of the chamber and IIM Calcutta, maybe we could have some workshops on this subject as well. This is what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kapoor. I had the privilege to first visit Darjeeling. So before I came to Kolkata. I was born in the Swiss mountains, but I think I only have seen the real mountains 4 or 5 days back when admiring the Himalayas. So I now understand why you're talking about the roof of the world, because you have mountains on top of the mountains. And that's exactly what I thought. I mean, that kind of panorama is absolutely unique. And if you have a look at the history of Switzerland's tourism, the Jungfrau, that is on the bucket list of so many Indian friends visiting Switzerland, has been in function, I think, now for about 125 years. And if you have shares of that little train that goes up to the Jungfrau, you still get paid dividends. So this is daily tourism. You can go up, you go down, and you have a wonderful experience. So there is definitely a huge potential when it comes only to the Himalayas and what you have as a panorama, and then also the landscape with the tea. And I'm very happy to look into this and share with you our findings. Switzerland tourism is, as I said, physically present in India, in Mumbai. And the objective of Switzerland's tourism industry is now to be a sustainable tourism, also based on the fact that climate change is something that is incredibly real and should not be pushed further, kicked further down the road. So I think also there, if you're talking about responsible tourism, I think this is a little bit what you have in mind, sustainable tourism. I'm sure Switzerland has not the answers yet, but maybe together we might find the answers. I'm also happy to interact with you when it comes to the Institute International Center of Management here in West Bengal.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes.
This side.
Sorry.
Yeah. Good afternoon. So my name is Rajesh Kuraria. I'm not a businessman, but I'm a professional by chartered accountant and working in KPMG. You rightly use the word innovative. That was in my agenda to talk to you. Though we are working with many corporates in Calcutta and around India, many corporates in India in the sectors of FMCG, right, education, healthcare, and infra and engineering are looking for innovation in the sense that they are looking for strategic partnership with foreign companies, maybe in Switzerland, right? Though we are working very closely with our KPMG network firm based out of Switzerland, but I would like to hear from you that how you think that your country can look forward for investment in more so in Bengal, in FMCG sector, infra, engineering, and the consumer goods, which Mr. Jalan has rightly picked up.
Just to understand your question, how we can find Swiss investors in healthcare, engineering, and
from innovative perspective, those big corporates are already in Calcutta in India, right?
Yeah.
They have achieved a good size in numbers. Very big companies, many of them are listed companies as well, in stock exchange in India. But yes, from innovative perspective, they are looking forward for a strategic partnership and innovation to bring in India from foreign companies, maybe based out of Switzerland. So what is your perspective and how you think that Switzerland can help and participate from a strategic partnership with the companies based out of India?
Yeah. So based out of West Bengal, West Bengal. So this can only be done, in my assessment, with a fact-finding mission. As I said, we have a very strong network here. So for me, one first step would be that when I'm visiting again, that I would be accompanied by the head of the Swiss Business Hub in Mumbai, Switzerland Tourism, and also the head of the Swiss Science Consulate, SwissNext in Bangalore. So as a network, we will have an idea of what we see and what is possible. The second step, or maybe together, would also be to bring in some Swiss businesses here. Because on the one hand, you can say there are few businesses, Swiss businesses in West Bengal. And you can say this is unfortunate, but on the other hand, you also can say that this is an opportunity. And I see that more as an opportunity to assess the investment potential of West Bengal. But for that, you need a little bit more than an ambassador. You need the people that are doing this on a daily basis, and especially then also create a certain buzz when it comes to the Swiss businesses. But the fact that we have so many of the Swiss businesses here means that we don't need to get the attention of the headquarters of those businesses in Switzerland. All we need is the attention of the Swiss businesses that are located in India. And it is easier to join a delegation to West Bengal if you are maybe located in Chennai than in a small village or in a city in Switzerland. So I don't have an answer to your question, but that's how I would see the next steps when it comes to Switzerland's relations with West Bengal/India.
Yes.
Sir, myself, Pradeep Chaudhary from Chennai newspaper. I have a question for you. You visited West Bengal for the last couple of days. So, what are the sectors that you are actually looking for investments in Bengal?
At this point, I'm incredibly open to all sectors.
And
You have heard the president. We are all over the place as a business. So it depends a little bit on what we see at the end in West Bengal. So I did not come to West Bengal with an opinion. I'm here to try to get a first impression and then make up my first opinion.
okay. And post-pandemic, where do you think that the Indo-Swiss bilateral trade would reach up to?
If you have a look at our bilateral relations, Switzerland always looked towards India in difficult times. So our consulate in Mumbai was founded in 1915, 1 year into World War I. And the Swiss Business Hub in India, in Mumbai, was founded in 1940, 1 year into the Second World War. Our scientific presence in Bangalore, Swissnex, was founded in 2010, 2 years after the financial crisis. And that is also when Umesh Chowdhury was nominated honorary consul in Kolkata. And now we are in the middle of an unprecedented pandemic. The last one was 100 years ago, and now we are again in a global pandemic. And you heard me, what I see in India. I see India as a strategic partner in the digital era, and I see us grow through innovation and bilateral investments. Today, you have 120 Indian businesses in Switzerland. We are talking about an investment relationship that is two ways. So for me, when it comes to our bilateral relations post-pandemic, although we are still in the middle of a pandemic, I think we are all looking for new and enhanced partnerships. At least this is also the sense that I have when meeting people in India, reading newspapers in India. India is also looking for enhanced partnerships. It's diversifying bilateral relations, are turning look west and look east policies into act west and act east policies, is engaging in new foreign policy, but also economic and innovative partnerships. So I think it is India is looking for enhanced partnerships and new partnerships, and the same is true for Switzerland. I think this is maybe the lesson that we all learned based on the pandemic, that we have to be much more open, much more flexible, and that we have to set some of maybe the images that we have and be open for more and for newer things. I hope that I gave you
Thank you.
a partial answer.
Thank you.
Chief Editor, IBG News. First of all, guten Tag and vielen Glück for Weihnachten. So, I can point out 2-3 areas where Switzerland can be a very good potential partner to West Bengal as well. Number one is laboratory information management, that R&D. The informatics which drives the laboratory automation in the world. The two major vendors for that one is LabVantage and Labware. They're all headquartered in Kolkata, in Salt Lake. Laboratory information management, LIMS. So number one. Number two is third-party inspection, testing, verification. One of the biggest corporate SGS that is again handling from India, and they're having a big good presence in Kolkata also with a couple of labs. So Swiss standard is paramount in that. So this can be extended. When you are having fourth largest economy and out of that 30 to 40% handled by SGS, then you are in a big business already. And I know myself because I was the Southeast Asia Pacific head for SGS at one point of time. So I can make it insider information that there's a very good opportunity, not only SGS, any Swiss business. The potential, another thing is that is the education, wherein the Swiss people are doing very good in R&D in pharma sector. You're already having Novartis like big pharma giant in your Switzerland headquartered, and their genetic drug discovery lab is there. That lab has been automated by me. So I know again that. So why I'm coming, so the West Bengal, maybe the heavy big industries are yesteryear's story. Now the new technology, new business, new innovation, wherein you lead the small space but big yield of throughput, that is required here. If you're looking for a big 100 crore, 2000 crore project in a multi-acre land, it's not going to happen immediately here. Let's talk sense. The thing is, you can take a high-tech business wherein the skill sets of Switzerland and West Bengal can be coupled together for the benefit of India-Swiss joint relationship. That is the point where we can work. And another thing, that is your banking. That the Swiss banking, the security things, we are the largest UPI provider globally in India. Now Switzerland can take benefit of that UPI gateway and technology for their banking too. So wherein not only the money in terms of technology and knowledge base, we can invest. And Kolkata could be a very good partner for that. These all gentlemen are stalwart in that. I am very much inappropriate to comment on their skill set. I can only admire their work, what they are doing despite of all odds. So what I'm looking at from you, that look from a pragmatic approach to the total problem of Eastern India. We are having minerals, we are having the peoples, but we are lagging some point of time the professional age, which needs to be inducted. That's the thing. So whether we can put a center of excellence through the Swiss thing, the management and others, Osar already told about the Indian Institute of Management. So the similar kind of center of excellence, if we can put out for the Swiss administration management and develop the people through workshop and the things, that will be a great opportunity. The next phase could be the mutual investment in both the countries. That's all I want to say, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, His Excellency. I am Madhumita Sarkar Guha, and I am representing grassroots level artisans here. So all stalwarts here, my salute to them, but I come from a very different industry, and it is of hand-woven textiles that we produce, manufacture, and export them. So I work very closely with the ITC She Trades Foundation. and I represent women entrepreneurships from India. And I was supposed to travel to Geneva for the 12th Ministerial Conference, and it was postponed at the last moment. So I am what I wish to tell you is that I have a vision of only collaborating with women-owned businesses. So really do not know how to put it forward, but then this is my present client portfolio also is of women-owned businesses worldwide. And I would want your help as to how can we get this collaboration underway with Swiss women-owned businesses, and especially because we are into the production of sustainable textiles and garments and fashion. So I would want your input in it and as to how we can go forward in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Gupta. The president at this point of the International Business Women Association is a Swiss. So I can put you in contact with her. That is definitely an inside track into a network of women in Switzerland, but especially also internationally. I would think that that would be my first reaction to your question, because what you need is a network of women entrepreneurs, and that's where you have it.
Yes, because my idea is here I am doing capacity building wherein we are working with more than 300 artisans, and we are wanting to have an extensive infrastructure wherein I get in more youth and women into the weaving industry, hand weaving industry, that is. So but yes, collaboration, because I would want to expand the market, and especially I would want to collaborate with women-owned businesses, because that's the vision that Lux Living, my company, has.
At your disposal for a follow-up, with great pleasure.
So I represent apparel and textiles sector, and we've been working quite closely with some of these Swiss companies like Charles Vogler and Tallywell for about a decade already. And we've been working very successfully with them. We've been recently also buying textiles from a lot of these German Swiss companies like Hemmerle and Getzner. And going forward, as we see sustainability, as she rightly said, is the way forward for in all sectors. Some of the top retailers in the world have, by 2025, will have all the products in the store that's sustainable, especially in the fashion line. We are right now talking to Lenzing and some other brands. Means Switzerland can really help bringing in a lot of technology to the Indian textiles industry in terms of bringing in sustainable technology. So this is what my question would be to you, is to try and see if Indian mills and Indian textile mills can bring in sustainable technology to India, because this is a really a big sector where Switzerland can really help the Indian companies for sure.
Yeah, ready for a follow-up, but I don't have a ready-made answer on that. But there are quite some textile businesses in St. Gallen, always have been, and they're cutting edge. So I'm sure you will, and we will find a suitable partner for you. Yeah. Although India is known for textiles, and then afterwards we came. So you were very much ahead.
Inherently, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Taking a cue from whatever I'm hearing and enthusiasm His Excellency is showing, I, on behalf of Indian Chamber, would like to use your offices and use this thing to, maybe first bring in the 300 companies, out of them, bring some of them down and have a one-to-one and select certain companies, not only from Bengal, but from the entire eastern region and the northeastern region, because Indian Chamber does not only work for West Bengal, but for the entire country. And we have a very strong presence, not only in Bengal, but in the entire this region. So we could first look at the companies which are already familiar with our ecosystem and bring them and try and bring a small get-together, one-to-one B2B with the companies, with KPMG and their other knowledge partners. And after that, we could even examine taking an all-India selected group of companies to Switzerland and see whether there can be more meaningful engagement and exchange of business ideas, innovations. So we could work on both these areas if we have the support of yourself and the embassy. We could work on a date and work around a program for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I will also try a little bit to summarize. Northeastern region. This is a region that I would like to visit in 2022. So it's good to hear that you are in charge of the whole northeastern region. It is one thing visiting the states with a big Swiss community. This is looking after Swiss investments. That is my job, but I also would like to be present in states where we have few, sometimes none, of economic presence. Sometimes we have a presence of the Swiss Development Agency that is working on or against climate change in favor of sustainability. So very much open doors when it comes to the Swiss network on a regional approach, northeastern. I think now the positive side of COVID is that we are all accustomed with video calls and virtual meetings. So I think a first contact and preparatory steps could be done first virtually, and then we could think of a visit with my network with the Swiss businesses during 2022 to Kolkata and the northern states. I think that would be very productive and very much in line with the planning that we have for 2022. And when it comes to the follow-up to this session here, I think it would be the best that I wrote down a couple of things that we would see together. How best to follow up when it comes to tourism, when it comes to innovation, women entrepreneurs, textiles, so that we be as concrete as possible. So maybe one thing could be that those who would like to have a concrete follow-up, that you would gather maybe the written input in email, and I will work on my side then to do the follow-up on that. Would that make sense for you as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, dairy and food processing too. Anything else that I forgot, Umesh? No, good.
Excellency, will be very happy to host you in Northeast because ICC has 2 offices there, and we have councils in all the states, right from Arunachal to Manipur, Mizoram, and we have 2 offices in Guwahati and Agartala. So whenever, let's say, things are better, you could, and we'll be happy to host.
And also Odisha.
Absolutely, and we have offices in Odisha, Ranchi, Patna. So any of these places, because Odisha is upcoming very well, and ICC has a very active team. So I mean, depending on your timing, we'll be happy to host you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would now request Ameya Prabhu to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh, and thank you so much, President.
Your audio is little lower.
Can you hear me? Is it better? Hello?
Maybe you need to put your mic closer, Amir. Yeah, get your mic closer to your.
Sorry, I'm speaking from my laptop, so I don't. Can you?
This is the problem with Zoom and virtual.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So just wanted to thank you so much, Dr. Singh, and thank you so much, Surekha ji, for this opportunity. And it's such an honor to host Dr. Ralf Heckner, the Swiss ambassador to India, at the ICC today. And I think he gave a phenomenal speech on the opportunities between India and Switzerland. And I think what he has beautifully said is that while Switzerland was the pioneer in the first industrial revolution, as well as the second industrial revolution with chemicals, we all know Basel is one of the great centers of chemicals as well as of art. I mean, I had the privilege of being at Art Basel earlier this year. But I think the digital revolution, which is now taking place, and I think the next revolution, which I see coming very, very soon, is actually the sustainability revolution, which is in terms of bringing in clean technologies, bringing in every aspect of our consumption, being sustainable, being circular. And I do think that the Swiss way of life is something which actually embodies that. I mean, if you go to Switzerland, everywhere, I mean, there are ski resorts today where they don't allow cars anymore. Every element of Swiss life is truly circular, it's truly sustainable. So I see Switzerland playing a very, very important role in the fourth revolution, which we see coming up on sustainability and circular economies. Furthermore, I mean, Switzerland is every Indian's favorite country, including mine. I mean, I had the privilege of being there this summer and visiting almost every part of the country this time. And I think that's one of the reasons, Dr. Heckner very kindly mentioned my book, The Rock Baba. So I chose one of the title story, The Rock Baba, is the character. I chose to base him in a canton called Nidwalden. And interestingly enough, the character actually comes to Nepal and then in turn to Kanchenjunga, the mountain which is actually on the border of which we can see from our northern city of Darjeeling in North Bengal. And it's a beautiful view. So we do hope to host you there soon, Dr. Heckner. And he discovers himself in a way. So it's, as I always say, it was not intended to be, but it ended up becoming a great story of Switzerland and India and how our two cultures, meet and how our two cultures grow together. And I think under your leadership, we certainly see Swiss-Indian relationships being taken to a different level. Of course, they are already, as you said, extremely good. And though I hope that we can collaborate more on business, on culture, and also again, Switzerland being the headquarters of the global asset management industry, also taking a role on ESG investing and taking something forward there. So I think that's another area where we see Switzerland and India collaborating, because I mean, while Switzerland has the asset management industry, the real impact would have to be made in countries like India, because today our per capita carbon consumption is very low. But the minute our consumption goes even close to what the OECD countries have, the impact that it will make on climate change will be humongous. So India has a challenge in terms of growing its economy, bringing our people out of poverty, while at the same time focusing on carbon emissions. And I'm sure that Switzerland can be a great partner on that. Another point which was alluded to was tourism. And I think, in a way, Kolkata is the gateway to the Northeast. And I mean, it's some of the most stunning landscapes in the world are in the Northeast. And I was very happy that you said you'd like to visit, and I would be a privilege to accompany you, sir. And I think that's another area where we can develop tourism in the states of Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, Tripura, Sikkim, of course, all our seven sisters in the Northeast. And we look forward to taking that forward. Of course, as our president mentioned, we are a national chamber. It was founded in Calcutta in the early 1920s, primarily because Calcutta was the then business hub. But now we have an office here in Mumbai, in Hyderabad. We're expanding into Bangalore. We're expanding into the north. So the Indian Chamber truly will be the Indian Chamber of Commerce, though sometimes I actually got a few, when I became vice president, a few people congratulated me saying, congratulations on becoming vice president of ICC. Can I get free cricket tickets? Because a few people assumed that it was the cricket board that I had, joined. But I think we're looking forward to building our footprint further. And thank you so much once again, and looking forward to doing many such events with you and the embassy, sir. Thank you.
Kindly present a small token to our chief guest.